So Radio Witchcombe, of course, it really wouldn't be a Waterloo Road special without, I would say a legend. So let's say hello to Mr. Jason Doan. Hello.
Hello.
So I've got to say, it's fair to say Tom Clarkson was one of the most loved characters in the show's history. He really did have the pupils' best interests at heart. Would you say that Waterloo Road was a career highlight for you? Because you were on it for a very long time.
Well, yeah, it is. And it's actually one of those jobs that I sort of feel more proud of as time goes on, because the amount of people that you meet that loved it and continue to love it on DVD or etc. It really has touched quite a lot of people's lives in a really positive way, as almost part of their childhood. And so when it's still having a sort of very positive effect on me because of through other people, really.
Yeah.
It's been a long time. It almost feels like a different lifetime ago. It was I think about 4 years ago for me that I left. But I've never spent as much time on a job either. So it was 7 years. So it was a huge part of my life. But no, it continues to surprise me. So I'm sort of enjoying having been in it. More so these days, just because of the lasting effect it's had.
And I mean, it's fair to say that you were kind of the heartthrob of the show. I mean, you're a proper ladies' man. You had Lorna Dickey, Izzy Redpath, Rose Kelly, Davina Shackleton.
I know. Well, do you know what though? When the show first started, of course, I mean, if you remember, the pupils go, "Morning, Mr. Clarkson."
Yeah.
All sort of fought all over. And then I think as the series went on and I became Curry Clarkson, although he was still a hit with the ladies, not quite the heartthrob he was in the beginning as age started to take its toll. But to be fair, I think he had his fair share's worth, didn't he? He didn't do bad in the lead department, did he? So yeah, I can't complain.
Did you have a favourite partnership?
Do you know what? I mean, it's well documented in interviews that I had a least favourite, not partnership, but moment, and that was with Izzy, and when we had to dress as giant vegetables, and I don't even know why I'm talking about that, because I just want to bury it, and then I've just dug it up again, haven't I? So yeah.
I remember that.
But yeah. Yeah, that wasn't a great day in the life of Jason Doan, let me tell you. Yeah.
Now, I mean, for Tom Clarkson, he was a legend of the show. The pupils loved him and so did the fans. But you were also involved in some kind of heartbreaking storylines. And I remember one for me that stood out was the Sambuca Kelly story, which was quite hard-hitting. Yeah. And it was really sad. That must have... I mean, as an actor, that must have also touched you as well to play that, because it's such an intense, emotional storyline. Yeah,
I think therein lies the beauty of perhaps why the programme was popular as well, because at times it was utterly ridiculous, and then at other times incredibly moving and touched and looked at some really serious issues and explored some serious issues. And I guess that's the brilliance of a good drama, is it has you laughing one minute and crying the next. But certainly those sort of darker storylines are really interesting to play, and they are moving and played incredibly well by the younger cast as well. Really talented younger cast. So yeah. But I guess I mean, who knows why something works more than something else? But perhaps that's got to be part of it. That it did address those issues and explore those issues and moved people. It has moved people.
Yeah.
Which I'm really proud of.
And I mean, I've spoke to a lot of the cast about this, and it'd be interesting to see what you think. But Waterloo Road was such a huge show. I mean, I was a huge fan, and this is just my opinion, but when the show moved to Scotland, I almost felt like it lost something. It wasn't Waterloo Road anymore. It didn't quite click. So when you found out about the show kind of moving to Scotland, what were your thoughts on that? Because it's such a huge decision.
Well, to be fair, I say, well, that's ridiculous. How are they going to make that work? You can't just up sticks and move to a completely different part of the world. And I agree with you. I mean, to be honest with you, I think although it was still successful and continued for a few more series when it moved to Scotland, I think it would be fair to say that it was certainly a little nail in its coffin, really, because it was stretching the imagination somewhat. I think we were suspending our disbelief a little too far, I think, and it lost the charm that it had originally. I mean, it still had its merits, and by no means being disrespectful in any way to the actors that came onto it and the young Scottish actors. So it wasn't about it being in Scotland per se. It was about moving something that had been firmly established in one place to a completely different place, which seemed a little silly. But you know what? I mean, I don't know. There was obviously method in that madness that I was not privy to, and politics and stuff that we just weren't privy to. So I just went with it for a year, and then decided that the time had come to sort of get out. To be honest, yeah.
Now, I mean, for the show, I think a lot of people still tuned in because you still had Grantley and you still had Tom. And when it came to the storyline of the death of Tom Clarkson, when he obviously fell from the roof, that was tragedy. And people were gutted. People really were gutted that you had left the show. And I almost feel like that was, again, people were like, this isn't the same show anymore because Grantley left it in the series after. So was it your decision to kill the character off?
Well, it wasn't my decision to kill him off. It was definitely my decision to leave.
Yeah.
And at one point, the producer came by and he said, "Look, no, listen, we'd like to leave the door open. We'd like to leave the door open, just for the future, just in case." And so I thought, well, that's thank you very much, just in case. I mean, I hope it's not a safety net that I need to fall back onto pastures new, all of that. But no, okay, leaving the door open, lovely. And then in the next breath, it was like, Tom falls from roof, and I thought, "Oh, who've I upset?" But no, I mean, actually, it's better to they because they knew that the character was so loved. It was better to really sensationalize the exit. Have a big, strong storyline to exit with. Rather than just getting in the car and driving off into the sunset. So, I mean, I was actually, it was much better. A, because I didn't have a safety net that I would be able to fall back on should I want to. Hopefully, I would never want to anyway. But it had such an impact that if you were going to leave a show, that was the way to do it. So between us, in the end, it was. I think that absolutely that was the right decision to make, and I was happier that was what was going to happen.
And I mean, what was nice about the scene? I mean, not that there's anything nice about Tom dying, but I mean, it was the fact he was looking out for a pupil, like he has always done in the show. Yes. He was doing something for someone else, so that was the nice thing about the story. He was looking out for other people, like he always has done.
He's the moral compass for the show, that boy. Yeah. I mean, he sort of he matured throughout the show. He was a little bit naughty at the beginning and didn't quite know his own mind. But as he found his way throughout, series 3 to 400, he did. He became the moral compass for the show. And incidentally, that the death scene, the falling from the roof, was actually one of the most exciting days I'd spent in the 7 years on the programme, because I got winched up in a harness, and it was this huge stunt with a big crane. I mean, they put a lot of money and time and energy, and I'm very grateful to them for that. They put a lot of time and energy and money into making it as dramatic as it was, and it was really exciting to play for those reasons, just for the stunt and all the toys that came with it. So the cranes, etc. So I kind of lost where I was going there. I got excited. I got excited about cranes, Louis. I forgot what the original question was, because it had taken me right back, and swung 50 feet in the air by this huge crane.
Reliving that moment.
I'm going to calm down now. Yes, indeed. Yeah.
I know what you're going to do after the interview. You're going to be booking a crane just to kind of relive that happiness.
Oh, for sure.
I got to
Somebody
say,
give me a harness and a crane.
what I love about Tom Clarkson was he didn't take any crap at all. I mean, you had all these head teachers that come in, they had big ideas about the school. They didn't necessarily care about the pupils. And we've seen Tom throw some good punches. We've seen Tom have some heated arguments, and all of it was in the name for being the good guy.
Yes, too right. We love Tom. We love Tom. Tom is our hero. So don't mess with the Clarkson, mate. That's for sure.
So as an actor, I know you're always working on different things. So have you got any upcoming projects that you can tell us about? Something that you're working on at the moment?
I can't tell you much about it other than it is amazing. And please, everybody take a look at this. On August the 24th, I'm of the great pleasure in being involved in a project on Netflix called The Innocents. Now, we are sworn to secrecy. We don't want any, leaking storylines, etc. But it is rather brilliant. Directed by the wonderful Farron Blackburn. It is a love story with a supernatural twist, and it's set across Yorkshire and London and Norway. So it's got a sort of Scandi noir feel to it. It looks amazing. The cast is amazing. Please, check it out. Check it out and let me know what you think. But it's a really, really nice, classy piece of work.
That sounds amazing. It'd be great to get you on a show nearer the time as well, to obviously have a chat about it before it's aired, when you can talk about it more.
Absolutely. Yeah. No, it's a real coup to be involved. I mean, there's a young cast in it. The two young leads are Saoirse Groundshaw and Percival Ascot, who you probably haven't heard of yet, but believe me, after August 24th, you definitely will. And it's Guy Pearce is probably the most recognisable name actor in it at the moment. But no, it's great. Have a look at it when it comes out. It's 8 parts. It's rather good.
And that's going to be on Netflix?
It's on Netflix.
That's amazing. Well, honestly, I've got to say a massive thank you for taking the time out, because I know you're filming at the moment. So to actually get you on the show as part of the special has been absolutely amazing, to talk about Tom Clarkson's best moments and, of course, your upcoming projects. Yeah,
thank you. And hey, a big thank you to your listeners as well, because you were telling me that you had a poll and that your listeners were interested in seeing what we were all up to from the show. And so thanks to them. And thank you to you, Lewis. Cheers, pal.
That's brilliant. Thank you very much. Take care.
All right, mate.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.